podcast.
I tried to say it and I backed out. I backed out hard.
You made it through the pod though.
My name's Ryan.
I'm John.
And together we are
Ryan and John. And let me tell you really quick.
Yep.
Wow.
Go ahead.
This is by you playing the keys is by far my favorite part about the show.
Wow.
I'm not trying to.
Ouch.
Wow.
But I'm serious. Like being able to just do whatever is so fun.
Okay,
It's
so show
fun.
over, right? I mean, I'll just
And that's it.
on the couch, as always, Cara Philly, Olivia Tafolla, our producers. Couldn't do it without them.
Seriously.
And for the viewers at home watching us on YouTube, you can
you
obviously
should
see this lovely
A lot has changed.
array.
Well, not a lot, but
a lot has
Beautiful.
changed.
Yeah.
We got a beautiful backdrop going on now.
one of the three walls you typically see.
That's right. There's only 3 in this room, as well as the 4th wall that we break every week. We break it.
Wow. That got
When we
deep.
go live, we talk to the viewers. That's us breaking the 4th wall. Big shout out to our dear friend Kat Pinning.
And I know for a fact she watches the show every week, which is so nice
does.
of her. But she, she's been helping me redo this room a little bit. This is studio, so it's used for a number of different shows. But
That's right.
This is the only video show. So when we started the show, I enlisted Kat to help me make it look good.
I love it.
And she did that. I mean, this is a gallery wall. She put it together so quick and so fast, and she had me order some of the elements, and she's a queen. She knows how to make it work.
And my favorite part is definitely, like, you can tell there's other shows going on here.
The family photo
It's the
section.
family photo section, the Growing Pains with Annie picture. There's a little, what's the podcast? Up there in black and white, like, oh, the one that started it all.
Mirror effect.
The
yeah.
mirror effect.
And this is a
Oh.
1950s vintage microphone. It has a cable.
That is right there.
Yeah.
Wow.
This is a Shure 1950s microphone. So this was like the top dog in 1950, and these
That's like
Or what the top
the
dog
father
now.
of
Wow.
these SM7Bs
isn't that
right
crazy?
there.
Yeah.
That is out.
It
I
has a
didn't
whole
even know
cable
that.
back there. I just zip tied it, but yeah, you could literally plug it in and use it.
How
I think we
cool.
should
What
one of
the
these
heck?
weeks, like,
Wow.
Just start vintage.
welcome to What the Podcast. Like,
and this
kind of
is
old
a-
school.
Change
This
your
is kind of
voice.
a
I was gonna
placeholder.
say.
This is kind of a
I don't think
placeholder,
it-
but this is a blueprints for some of the first microphones and headphones.
Wow.
So all these little tie-ins. I mean, that's
Our bread and butter
that's
right
how
there.
Cat works.
Wow.
That's the attention to detail you get with
So three
feathers
feathered design. Yep.
Wow.
Love it. There
So
she
cool.
is. Link in the
Link in the
bio.
bio, yeah, of course.
Yeah, you can see all of her awesome work.
And Sunkissed Macrame too. I mean,
Oh.
Cara, it's a joint business. Or you guys both have the business? Is
That's
that how it works?
we do. It is a joint business.
of us.
So
That's all
any
the
business
macrame.
questions you can direct towards me. But
All the talent.
the talent
over
is right there
All the
on the
macrame
couch.
you see
It's a little
on this
Hall and
wall.
Oates thing
or-
happening.
really anywhere. If there happens to be any more macrame, it's by them.
Yep.
Sunkissed Macrame.
was Hall the talent or was he the business?
Which the blonde guy was the
Well,
showboat,
we saw
right?
It was Oates.
We saw him in
Whatever,
concert.
Oates.
You saw
Oates
Hall.
was Oates was definitely the
Yeah.
brains of the operation. I'll
definitely.
tell you
He
what.
was the sauce.
Hall kept trying to promote his other stuff. He's like, I'm on YouTube now.
Ew.
And Hall was like just
He's
quietly
like, "Let's just
tuning
play
in the
our
background.
music."
Doesn't matter.
You saw Hall and Oates
Yeah.
in concert?
It was great. No, it was a great show. Loved all the songs, but it was that the whole time. Like
Yep.
kind of like
Well, live shows
They've
are
run their
tough,
course.
I think, for some of these older bands. You know?
legacy, you know.
I
I'll
don't
tell you
know.
what, we saw Paul McCartney at Petco Park. That
Killed
was
it.
had
He
no
kills.
problem doing that. Yeah.
He kills. And you know what I
Killed it.
love about him? And we talked about this too,
Yeah.
I'm sure before, but
Yeah.
I love like just genuine musicians. Like
Yeah.
Paul, Prince, Michael Jackson, like people who just like feel like it comes out of them almost. Like they just have to create. And,
Yeah.
and Paul's one of those.
Yeah,
about
absolutely.
that?
Put on a heck of a show. Look, I'm not one to toot my own horn. Okay,
ahead.
John. I won't,
Right.
I know that about you.
when I'm right, I don't always like to say like, yeah, like, oh, I was right. Like, I told you so. Like,
But you did.
but in this moment, I've never been more right. I called it from a mile away.
Oh gosh.
Does anyone want to guess what I'm talking about?
He's talking
here?
about The Bachelor, blah blah.
A couple weeks ago,
Bachelor.
we had an episode where we had friends, Matt and Grace, on, and you guys all watched The Bachelor. I was the only one that doesn't watch it, and I still haven't watched a single second of The
Don't-
Bachelor.
don't
But
do it.
I
Don't do it.
know exactly what happened
Yeah.
because it is everywhere in the news.
Yeah.
Yeah,
pretty big deal
I
right
think
now.
that's the problem is that everybody's talking about it, so then more people want to watch it. But it's a trash show, and no one should be watching it. It's bad
Well,
for society.
And to be clear,
including myself.
a couple of weeks ago, there was, we talked about the drama of one of the contestants named Rachel Kirkconnell.
Yeah.
Kirkconnell.
Kirkconnell.
And she was caught. They you know how the Instagram historians do.
That's right.
When anyone comes on TV, they go through,
Dig
and
up the
especially
dirt.
this show because it's all about romance and love, and
Yep.
and I feel like it's even worse in Bachelor season versus Bachelorette, because Bachelor seasons, like, there's all these jealous women that are watching the show that are like, I'm gonna tear these girls apart. Maybe that's a generalization, but
Yeah, sure.
they
Well,
really go
also
deep.
guys don't. I mean,
They don't
historically
post.
don't really post.
That's true.
Yeah.
So they found
Sure.
out that this girl, Rachel, recap, went to some sort of party. What's it called?
An antebellum
Antebellum.
party.
Antebellum party,
which is a word that means before the war. So like this is this time period in the South that was pre the Civil War.
so not a good time.
Pretty
period.
problematic already.
very
The fact
problematic.
that they're celebrating that time with a party and like a themed party
Who thought
at that
of this party?
And it's not just a party; it's a party on a former plantation.
where it actually went down.
Yeah.
So she had a picture at one of these parties.
Mm-hmm.
Very concerning. I mean, and oh, here's the best part. It's in 2018.
Yeah.
Right.
This is not.
This wasn't like
this
old
isn't
school,
2005
yeah.
or,
No.
or even before
Like
that.
even so, though, you
Yeah.
know, right?
Not acceptable at
Right.
any time period. But I'm saying, there. It's not like there's enough time have gone by,
Right.
where you're like,
To like
it was 10 years ago, or that was 20 years
things were
ago.
different back
You know,
then.
she's grown. This is 3 years.
yeah.
And that didn't stop Chris Harrison.
And Chris Harrison, surprisingly, and this is where I want to start on
Okay.
this
Yeah.
topic.
Okay.
Because Chris Harrison came out, and there's a couple of interviews. Well, I'll link them in below.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He did an interview with Extra. It's
Form
in
your
the-
own
it's in the
opinions.
caption below.
Watch for yourselves.
If you want to stop right now, watch it, and then you'll understand this better. But he did an interview where they kind of brought it up, and he went really weirdly defended
Yep.
Rachel. And this was a month ago, so this was pre who we knew
Yeah,
won.
no
or
one knew.
Won.
Look.
Ugh.
That's where
One.
big brain comes in, because you know what? He was now in retrospect, he was going to bat for his girl.
Yeah, and you pointed
She
that
won,
out.
and it's even more so like if he dragged her, if he was like, yeah, no, she's a racist, like I don't condone that kind of behavior, or whatever he said, then now it's like, okay, and then she wins the show. It's like,
Yeah.
okay, big, crap in the middle of the show.
And I didn't know this prior. I found this out when we were talking about it before
Yep.
the show, that it makes sense. I didn't think about it though. He's executive producer.
the
He's
big-
got a lot of stake in the game here. He's not just the host anymore.
And it's his entire career too. It's
whole
everything
thing
that
is
people
him.
know him for.
So
Yeah.
but the question is, so he kind of defended Rachel, and at the time it didn't. Well, what's funny is I was reading some articles this morning trying to keep up on it all, and for this show for you guys. And
Wow, thank you.
I was realizing that a lot of people had the same realization as you, where they were like, "Why is he defending this so hard?"
Yeah.
And then they're like, "Maybe she won." And well, it turns out Rachel did win the man or whatever.
Yeah.
He and
Well,
So there's a big-
it didn't even end up being like they get engaged. They didn't even get engaged.
final
He
rose,
didn't
right?
propose. He was just like, I want to keep getting to know you better, but I'm not ready for. The whole thing was he
Which
ended up not
I
being
was
ready
okay
for
with.
marriage.
That was my whole
confused
thing.
by
Is the
that.
show sucks because at the end, like getting engaged is the prize, and they actually. It was fine, like watching it and being like, okay, like now they're just gonna start dating. Is
Right,
basically
yeah.
what
Well,
the show ended like.
And I saw that, and I knew that was a change because I know the show well enough to know that it's always like an engagement. And it's
Yeah.
always kind of weird when it's a Bachelorette
Yeah.
season because like two guys have to propose.
Yeah.
I think,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Yes,
She has to
and
say
she has to
no
say
to
no.
one of them.
Yeah.
Well,
It's
the
like,
last,
That's
I want to
rough.
say
So
like
bad.
the last 3-4 seasons, except for like one of them, they all ended up just dating. Not proposing, but
Right.
Which-
dating.
And
Great.
I mean,
Which is-
did Tasha get engaged?
She did, and she is engaged.
Yeah, she isn't. So Tasha got engaged, but like a couple before her, like
Yeah.
relationships were not coming out of the end. So much so that it wasn't even like, oh, we're gonna commit to each other to date. Like,
I'd be surprised.
yeah, it was like
Maybe we
breaking it
can
up. Like Pilot Pete was
start
like,
talking.
So weird.
not with
30
anybody at the
women.
end.
Bizarre.
Wow, it's
Bizarre.
That's weird.
Women
It didn't
start-
work.
And then at the end, it didn't
and you whittled
work.
them down.
So
But
I mean,
All
I
that
think,
to say
yeah.
is like the weird part for me was like now that it all came out ahead of time, they had time to plan for the finale so
Yeah.
that it was like already apologizing for it at the end. Like it ends where it's like they're together now, and then immediately it was the guy from
The guy
The
from
show.
Ochoa.
The YouTube
Awkward
channel.
Conversations with a Black man.
Yeah.
that
So
guy. Of
uncomfortable.
course,
Uncomfortable
first of all, of
conversations.
course they would.
his
brand.
opening line was, welcome to the like the most controversial After the Rose, and you know it's controversial because I'm hosting.
It was like,
So
okay.
I
It's
think,
like,
I mean,
Yeah.
it's too, it was like already so meta, like referencing itself. Like we watched them have this happy moment, and then it's the couple is there. Like,
I think from the beginning of when Chris Harrison had this interview on Extra
Yep.
to the time that the finale came out,
Yep.
it was a constant backpedal for the Bachelor like
Yep.
franchise.
They knew.
They first things first, Chris Harrison kicks it off. Like he puts he fans the flames of what's already happening. Like this is bad. He makes
In
it
an
so much
effort-
worse by defending it.
in
Like
an effort to like quell it.
yeah,
you know?
he's like almost trying to like, you guys, everybody calm down. When it's like, okay, for one, not necessary.
He
You
kept
don't need to
using,
say that.
The woke police as a term.
Yeah, he was acting like, oh, we're all so PC nowadays.
It, like, it
like
would've
why
been
are we trying to keep each other accountable? Can't we all just learn? When in reality, it's like you are completely downplaying everything that happened.
Mm-hmm.
Like you're acting like it's not a problem for you, which you've showed in the past. Like things have come up
Yeah.
on the show and with contestants that have not been a problem for you when it should have been a problem.
Yeah.
So it's from that point on, it was just like, okay, what can we do to save the franchise? Like, what are we doing now to stop the flames? And
Yeah.
so now they hire the man from the YouTube
Emmanuel.
channel. Yeah, Emmanuel.
Emmanuel. Yeah.
Yep.
And so they have him host, and they're like, okay, this is gonna fix it. Now we're having a black man as the host. So
Like kind of as like this moderator between
right.
Yeah.
potentially racist
It's like, okay,
people and
so
black
we're gonna
people.
take out Chris Harrison for this
Which
episode.
that's what he does on his YouTube, right?
So
His series is
it's a little.
called-
That's what I
But
mean.
it
Like it,
just
was a
felt
little on
like
the
all of
nose,
it-
like meta.
It felt like all of it, and based on what Chris Harrison said, because Chris Harrison represents to me everybody who's behind the scenes. Like he
Sure.
is the Bachelor
I feel
Nation,
that.
and so to me, everything that came out of it, like everything that he was being called to task on, he was not prepared to answer,
Mm-hmm.
and now he's answering it because he has to.
Yeah.
It's not because he wanted to talk about this or because this
he
issue
right
was
out
on
the
his
gate
heart.
had like an agenda.
Yep.
Like
He was forced to talk about it, and now he's forced to please everybody.
Mm-hmm.
And so none of it is genuine. All of it is virtue signaling. And so it was just ridiculous to me. The
I
whole
have a
thing
bit of
was-
a theory.
let's
Go
hear
ahead.
it.
So at the very beginning of
Mm-hmm.
the show last night, they said we're gonna talk about because Michelle they broke up.
Mm-hmm.
It was sad. They were like, we're gonna have Michelle. We're gonna have Matt and Rachel and controversy, and then we're gonna talk about Rachel and Chris Harrison's interview. I have a theory because they never the show like 5 minutes left. We were like, they never talked about it. I have a theory that they went into that segment and something went wrong. Someone said something bad. Someone
dude,
and they
because-
cut it
Well,
cut
because
it off.
there was
I
like
wonder.
there was like a whole couple of minutes where the couple was like sitting
Silent.
there
In
silent.
silence.
So it was like they asked, like the dude asked Matt, like, okay, so is there like how did that all go like between you, like when you talked to her about like how this made you feel, like how did that all go? And they literally just sat in silence. He was like trying to find the words, but eventually just like
I think what happened is that he didn't want to roast
Put her on blast.
Yeah, put her on blast
Yeah.
because I think things happened behind the scenes where he came to her and was like, "Hey, this is not okay. Like things are coming out about you. Like I just want to know the truth." She says the truth. She's not really apologetic about it.
she's probably like, well, what's the big deal?
Yeah, like downplaying
You know,
it too. Like this was a
this
long
was
time
something
ago.
that happened a long time ago. Like you know me, I wouldn't be a racist.
Yeah.
And it's like,
And he's like, well, what
like-
you did was wrong, and you
And
know
you're not
what you did
copping
is
to it.
affecting me, and she's not taking ownership of that. I think a lot of conversations happen behind the scenes that we don't know about.
Well, must have because her official apology was, I thought was,
and she was
really good.
she was even well spoken on the show too.
Yeah, I
Before
thought she
he
did well on
got
the show.
So
there,
there's pieces that were missing because
I
I
think-
can't
because
imagine
I
when I saw her apology, I was like I first of all I get it,
Mm-hmm.
you know, like I should say I don't get it, you know,
Yeah.
I can't imagine what it's like for Matt, right? And but I with her apology, I was like, wow, she's so well spoken and she seems genuine. So I'm like, something like
There's
why
a
aren't
piece
they together,
missing. Yeah,
right? Because
there was
like,
a piece
I
missing.
think they really do. Like he really did love her. I
Yeah.
think.
Oh,
Like
yeah, I
think so,
their
too.
chemistry was there. Like they really were. Like it seems like they were gonna be together.
Yes.
And now that this has happened, it's like he really like he should want to be like, yeah, no, like she's crazy. Like she doesn't understand why this is racist. Like and like that is the road he could go down if not for the fact that he was totally in love with her. I think.
I don't know. I think there is an element where I don't know that he could have gotten out of this situation well with her.
No,
I think he knew he had to. Well, I think it was probably smart for them to take a break and take a step back and kind of view the whole situation, right? But then you also have all this intense media power and like oversight that you're like, I think to some degree he's like, I need to step away from this at least for a moment.
Yeah. I mean, it depends.
Myself.
It depends if she is in a place where she owns up to it and she's like, I'm doing the research. This is what I'm doing, and this is how I'm educating myself. Then who's to say like people wouldn't respond to that? However, it seemed like Matt, there were things that she had said to him that made him understand like she is not in a place where we can be in a healthy relationship.
Well, part of me too is like I get the education part, like Chris Harrison. Well, no, this is a bad example, but I'm saying like somebody like Chris Harrison who like would step back and kind of do the research. But and when you're in a relationship with a guy like Matt, like aren't you doing the research as you go? Like you're learning, like he should be your source of like really learning.
Oh, that was something they asked. Emmanuel said, "Okay, well, shouldn't you be like an example?" And like really teach her these things.
She did. I mean, she did. It was pretty offhand.
No, but the problem with that though is it becomes taxing on Matt. Like Matt shouldn't be the one to bear the weight of that when there's already so many other things he has to bear the weight of.
He made a comment about like I should.
Like
that's
it's
the one
not
thing
up
I like
to
about
him.
his statement is he was like, I shouldn't have to have this conversation. And I was like, really? I was like if you love her,
if you love this person,
you
aren't
know?
you willing to do like just because you've been slighted? And you know, like you said, I don't know what it feels like to be a black person
100%.
and like go through that struggle and everything.
I think there's complexity to it though,
Of course.
because it's like it's not just like I don't know. I think there's more to it because it's for Matt. It's like to take that on. I don't think that's his responsibility. And if you love her, yes, but you might think you love her based on the person you think she is, but now that things are coming to light and she's not owning up to these things, and it's depicting her character as well.
Yeah.
It's not just like, oh, she did this thing. It's reflecting who she is as a person. So maybe it's like you have these assumptions of who she is and what she would say in these scenarios, but then when you see how she's like in hot water and she's not reacting the way that you thought she would, it's like maybe I think maybe she's not who she
I think there's so much that got cut out of their interview.
The whole thing was
And,
sketchy.
Like for some reason, I feel like Emmanuel asked them more things that they were like, nope, we're not going to answer that.
I don't know,
we're not going
maybe.
to answer that. I don't know.
The sketchy part for me, I have a few thoughts on this. The sketchy part for me is Chris Harrison was nowhere to be found. Like,
oh my
they're
gosh.
just trying
Such
to
a joke.
And like, you know, like they're not bringing him to task for basically doing potentially the same thing that Rachel did, which is like, what's the big deal? Like, I don't get it. Like,
he fully downplayed
That
the
interview
entire
is
thing.
really rough.
So bad.
Yeah.
And it's like, I don't know. I want to applaud Rachel Lindsay because the entire time she just kept her countenance in a way that was just so respectful. Yes.
Yeah.
And she had every reason to go off on Chris Harrison, but she was able to take in all the information that he was saying and really just show people like this is who he is. This is what he's doing. This is who like what he represents. You know, like she easily could have become the subject of what the interview was, but she was able to take a step back and have the perspective of like, no, this is more important if I just let him speak, you know, because it speaks for itself. What he says speaks for itself.
So I don't know if, like, who knows if Chris Harrison is doing anything like money-wise, promoting the show, like anything, but he has been replaced to host for the next two seasons.
Yeah, they're having,
it's going to be Tasha,
okay,
Love, and Caitlin Bristow.
are hosting the show.
They're going to be
It was
hosting.
Michelle, but maybe.
She's the Bachelorette.
Michelle is going to be the Bachelorette. So
they're
that
having
was
two
another
seasons.
So
thing.
they're having two
having
seasons
right.
and two women hosting.
Co-hosts.
All right, about time.
I think
Now,
okay,
and
so
I'm with Olivia when she said like he's the executive producer. Like
He's still making
the
money.
show is him.
yeah.
The bottom line, in my opinion,
Yeah.
is like there are I think two elements of that we should take away from all
Yes.
this. Is that
Yeah.
the show is just poorly designed.
Yeah.
You know, like the show either needs a entire revamp, not even just like the hosts and the contestants, of like the whole structure, in my opinion. And also like, here's the other thing that we're not addressing, that sororities and frats are like having these parties.
Yeah.
You know, and that's
So-
the other thing is like,
So
why
this
are
is-
those? Why is that still a thing?
So yeah,
we talked about it last night. This concept of
the culture in the South.
the culture in the South. Yes, like
It's,
there's
like,
these
passed
traditions
off.
that are so like.
It's passed off
Closely
as
tied.
like, oh, this is our American history.
is like
this is who
Southern
we are.
culture.
This is our culture in the South. But all of their history and all of their traditions are tied to this antebellum period.
Oh,
A few
Emmanuel
standout
said,
ones, 'cause
Emmanuel said something really good. He said, "This history, this American history, is meant to be remembered, not celebrated."
Yes.
He said that,
heard
and
that.
when he said that, I was like, "Yeah, that was good."
Of course,
And
it's
that's
the whole
not
thing
even
with
what's
these
happening in the
statues
South.
of
They're not
you know,
even-
Confederate generals that were like taking down. Like, why are we honoring this Confederate
Yeah.
general
Yeah.
like that fought for the South in the Civil War? Like, why are we honoring him? Like,
And yeah, I think that's the problem is in the South, it's not remembering.
Yeah.
It's not like we are remembering this because we know this
It's subtle
time
hints.
period is wrong.
Yeah. I
It's
mean-
all celebrating. There's the
that's
Confederate
like,
flags.
That's like when the Civil War was over. Like, sure, like like that was just the start.
Yeah.
You know, so it was like
Yeah.
these people that were in power were still in power when
Yeah,
the
of
Civil War
course.
was over.
Yep.
So it was like it just legally contracted them to like, you know. And again, there's so much to it that
Yeah.
you really have to
like
dive
they
into
wouldn't
it.
have gone to war for these things if they weren't so strongly like
And so these
connected
people
to
are
them.
subtly
Yeah.
like they're in, and those people are long gone now. But like those people took the opportunity to sprinkle in these like almost like these virtue signaling.
So that's
And
what I
it's-
was getting
well,
at.
that's- yeah,
that we
I'm-
talked about last night. This idea of like passive racism. This is kind of like a weird phrase, but it's like people that don't understand the gravity of a situation, and then if they learn about it, it's not that big a deal because it doesn't affect them.
Yeah.
So it's not like I'm out, you know. People always do the extreme. Like, I'm not out burning crosses and like, you know, lynching people and everything. But you're a part of this system of racism because you see a problem and you don't do anything about it.
There's-
you're like,
there's
well, that's not that
layers
big a
to
deal.
racism.
Or you just don't know. Or it is a lack of education.
I think there's layers because in the South you have straight out KKK members, you know, and you also have
Just
people
normal
who
people.
are raised in the South
Yep.
and are surrounded by these things and are not educated from a perspective of this is wrong.
Right.
They're educated from a perspective of this is how it is and this is
is
our
history.
history. Yeah, exactly. And so I think it's really scary when we see people on such a like big scale, like
Yeah.
Rachel Kirkconnell, who has been raised in this environment and is representing so many other people. You know, like
Yeah.
it's not just her, right? Like
Right.
it's the entire South. So
And now look, I don't want to like disclaimer, which is kind of like, I don't know, whatever. Like her getting the chance to do that should be more of a thing. Like to learn about that. Now, how she handled it was wrong.
got it, yeah.
Yeah.
But like Chris Harrison started to talk about it in his interview before he fully got off the rails, which I kind of almost agree with this idea of like, we need to normalize learning new information and changing our opinions.
Yeah.
Growth. We need to be like, I hate cancel culture. I hate this idea of like, oh, you did something wrong and now we're bringing you to task for it. Like, I hate that. I
Well,
want it to
yeah.
be more like open to, oh, okay, like, yeah, I did for somebody, you know, I've never spent time in the South, but for somebody that did and maybe like is like, yeah, these are normal things that I see all the time. I want them to be able to have the chance of like, okay, I'm learning that this is wrong. I'm doing my research and I'm changing my opinions on it.
yeah, I mean, that was the biggest, I think, benefit from last night's episode was the fact that two black men were able to speak about serious issues that are going on in this country on such a wide scale with so many viewers. Like that was a benefit that
Yeah.
I saw. And the fact that we were able to have this conversation with Rachel too,
Yeah.
of like, yes, I've grown up with this. It's wrong, and I want to learn and I want to change.
Yeah.
Like I think that's powerful. Whether or not
She
it's
even
genuine
said-
is debatable.
Right, of course.
You know, whether or not she truly wants to change is going to show through what she's doing.
But we have to open that space for her to be able to do it.
Yeah.
If we're like, no, she's ungenuine. Like she went to that party. Like she knew what she was doing. It's
Yeah.
like, She literally was like, I didn't think anything of it. He asked her, like, what did you did you toss and turn at night knowing that this picture existed while you were dating a black man? She's like, no, I didn't even think about it. She's like, I didn't think about it once because it wasn't a big deal. I was taking a picture. I was at a party.
And I think that's one of the layers of racism, is that there are people who are complicit, and they, whether they know it or not, like, they are adding to the systems of oppression that are in place. So
what I liked about this situation too is that Rachel responded well.
Yeah.
You know, like, I will say it took her some time, but I think there was some sort of legal thing where she couldn't. I don't. I read that.
I bet you they were under contract
where she couldn't
about what
she couldn't post about, because she was saying
until the finale or
she
something.
was saying that she wanted to post, that she wanted to make a public statement. And
well, there had to be an NDA because her apology could have insinuated that she won.
I think what the difference was is that she could have technically came out about it, but I don't think she could have gone into detail as much as she wanted to, and that's why she waited.
I think, but as far as details go, like in relation to the show, it would just be about the relationship, and it's not like really it has anything to do with the photos. You know, like she easily could have come out with a response about.
It has to do with the fact that she's dating a black person.
Yeah.
Like,
Why though?
Well, that was the end of the show. Like, the end of the show was like they're dating. So I mean, like, for her to say anything present tense, I think could
about,
have
like,
been a violation.
Like,
of her
we've
contract.
broken up.
But,
like,
what
we're spending time apart.
What does the relationship have to do with, like, what she did? Like, you know, she could comment and apologize for what happened
The only
without.
reason they know about it is because of her relationship with the show. Like,
right, but like, she could address it. Like, I know this happened. Like, exactly her apology that she said, and not at all address Matt or like their relationship status.
You're right.
I think it's because of something had to do with something about the final rose thing. Like,
there's something.
What I'll say is, I did like. I like that she came with a genuine response. As far as Hollywood or even reality TV show goes, I think it was the most genuine apology I've seen.
Yeah,
and through
it was
social
pretty
media.
good.
I mean, if we're talking about apologies, can we talk about Chris Harrison's apology?
Yeah,
Because
I didn't actually see it.
it was so ridiculous. I mean, again, form your own opinions, go out and watch it.
Yeah.
But in my opinion, I felt like it was him being forced to apologize on live television. Like, you know, when YouTubers like are caught doing something
Fake
online
apology.
and it's like them crying and they're like, I've been crying for hours.
I don't even know.
Splash some water
I don't
on
even
their
know
face,
how I'm
they're
gonna
like,
make this
I
video.
don't. I'm sorry. And then it like edits
Star.
like as if they're taking breaks, as if they're taking breaks while they're
Yes.
filming. Like,
Yeah.
it's taken me a long time to say this, but I'm so sorry.
You thought it was like that?
It was exactly like that,
Oh,
except without
Chris
the tears.
Harrison.
Chris Harrison
Okay.
apologizing. Yeah.
I was like, I didn't think Rachel's was
No.
like that.
Hers was
I've
pretty.
seen it, right?
It was pretty succinct, but like you said, like until Matt got there, and it was like the wheels fully fell off. I was like, something is sketchy here.
It was nothing was lining up because it's not like Matt. I felt like had more to say, but he couldn't say it on television.
I don't think
because
I don't think he wanted to say it.
I think he was being a gentleman because it seemed like there were things he could have said about Rachel that
Like, he was ready to drag her.
That
And
would have
then
dragged her. Yeah,
When
totally.
Emmanuel said, "Do you two want to take a final embrace?" She
were like-
smiled. She looked at him and she was like,
And he
will
was
you? And he was like,
not-
straight face.
It's pretty.
Like, he
it's
was
pretty.
not having
it
it.
seems pretty cut and dry. Like, she does love him, and he probably loves her too. And like, it's not getting through to her how important it is, like the gravity of the situation, that we can just like, let's just brush it off. Like, let's just, just love each
Maybe
other.
that's her stance.
Yeah.
Maybe that's the wedge, right? Is
She's like, I love you. Like, what does it matter?
I mean, again,
I think that's what's been a lot of people's justification for it. It's like, well, Rachel can't be racist because she's fallen in love with a black man.
Right.
It's like, well, that
And
doesn't
there's
mean
this-
she's not racist.
And there's a disconnect, obviously,
totally.
for people that like,
It's
I don't
about
know.
oppression.
I want to slide to Chris Harrison because there is a quite a bit there, and I think
What you got for us?
I honestly feel like we need to talk about this because I feel like I told you about this before, and maybe I mentioned it earlier in our conversation. I don't understand why he would do that. Like, I don't understand why he would take such a strong side on this because he has the best situation, in my opinion, on the show. He's just the host. Like he's just there to facilitate
Right.
and transition. And
That's what it seems like to
Yeah.
us.
yes, and I know he has his own personal opinions, but like part of me is like, you got a good gig, man. Like you've been a part of this legacy show that has no signs of stopping, and you've done really well. I mean, you're notable, and for whatever reason, he decides to take this hard line.
That's
on
just
this
it.
issue.
It's not we think he's only a part of the show, bringing the rose every once in a while. That is the tip of the iceberg. The entire show is Chris Harrison. He is
Orchestrated.
pulling the strings
Do you think
at
he had-
every step of the
do you
way.
think he had enough of people attacking the show that he felt like personally
He's
needs to
personally
defend it?
connected to the show.
Yeah.
And so
That's what it seems like.
And the interesting thing about his interview on Extra was that there was no one in the room with him at the time. So he doesn't have PR people telling him you can't say that on live television.
No, he probably does.
It was
He probably has them, but this interview, he was like, I got this. Like, I'm just going to say what I feel.
According to what Rachel Lindsay said on her podcast, he didn't have anybody with him. And so
With him that day.
yeah, when he was
That
recording
show,
it.
the show's too big. He's way too high profile.
When he was
to
recording, sorry.
Whoa,
Whoa,
we got a real spike
When he was
there.
recording.
Oh my gosh.
We're going to have to cut that out.
All right.
I'm
when
with
he
you.
was recording that
Yes.
episode. And so I think it was
The interview.
Like when people have a glass of wine and they're kind of like their
filter.
inhibitions are kind of down. Yeah, their filter's down. I think that was the interview for Chris. He saw this as an opportunity to really just speak his mind, and he just started going off in such a way that it was like, okay, now you're talking about things that are so much deeper than just this.
Yeah.
Like, it's inherently wrong. And so it was just kind of, for me, it was like, now you're just exposing yourself.
And
You just played
what's
yourself.
So annoying,
Yeah. Just
what's
being
so
honest.
Annoying is the question. The question to kick off this section of the interview was: is the show going to address this? He literally and they did. So all he could have said is,
yes.
yes, we are going to address it.
If he was
And
just
no.
trying to like downplay it and like brush it off, it would have been that. Like,
He
okay,
literally
yeah,
got
we're
the idea.
we're working through it.
He literally got the idea to do that, though, in that interview, because prior to that, she was like, so, like, is the show going to talk about it? And he's like, I haven't even talked to Rachel about it yet. I don't really know. And then by the end of the interview, he was like, yeah, in the finale, we're going to talk about it. Like, we're going to talk about it. So all of it was just other people telling him, like, you need to say something about, like, this is wrong. You have
He's
to
like,
talk about
yeah,
it.
we probably should.
Yeah.
I'm wondering if it's a mix of him wanting to shave the shows, save the show's butt, or and a mix of him being in these contestants' lives literally forever. Because now these contestants, if like in normal times before COVID, they were always coming back to the show, being guests. They were always, so Chris Harrison's part of their lives.
It's the long play.
So I feel like
she
he thinks
won the
he's like a
show.
therapist
She's
and,
his
like,
baby
their dad.
because
Yeah, he
she,
wants good
you know,
publicity at the end of the day.
Honestly,
wants
final
to make
thoughts
money.
on this show before we really
Put it in the ground.
Cap this.
Put the whole show
Yep.
deep into the archives. Shoot it in space.
Because
I'm done with it.
Here's what I'll say. I've maybe watched 2 to 3 full episodes if you tally up all
Stitch
the
it all
time.
together. Sure.
And I could never watch it again and be fine.
Yeah.
You know what blows my mind? In a day and age in which cancel culture exists, how has this show survived? Like, for the amount of issues that this show has presented to us, and it's not like we're some like analysts or
Like-
anything. Like, it's not like we're historians.
Crack the case on this. Yeah.
But when you're watching the show, you're like, this is bad. This is bad for women. This is bad for men. This is bad for society.
Yep.
And then to add on top this layer of racism that exists in so many other industries,
Yep.
but especially in television and film, it's like the whole show needs to be thrown out. Like, it's just bad.
Yep.
But what the problem is that it's so fascinating to people, and people are so interested in the science
And
experiment.
to be fair,
know-
like I had no connection to the show,
Yeah.
short of like watching it with you guys.
Well, because this season they brought in someone completely new who had never ever been a part of The Bachelor. He was just friends with someone who was on it, and that's the first time they've done that in 20
And
something.
he's really shaking
just
things
like-
up because he didn't propose.
It's like watching a car wreck. It's literally like 8 cars backed up on the full wreck, and like, everyone's rubbernecking to watch. And it's like,
Wow.
that is what we're watching, like absolute destruction
As a side note,
of
I
society.
just looked up how long The Bachelor and The Bachelorette have been around.
Yeah.
Too long.
25
Yeah.
seasons. It started in 2002. So
Yep.
that means Rachel,
a
when
long-running
this
show.
started,
She was
she
born.
was like 2.
Wow.
No. She's
If
our
that.
age. She's 24.
Is she?
So she was 3?
She 1996, 2002.
Okay, you're right. So
She was 6.
She was 6.
6.
I'm good.
But you know what I'm saying?
It served its time.
Ridiculous.
There's no way in hell that she did not grow up watching this show.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm saying. Like, that's the problem with this show. Is like we have now gotten into a level where like kids are growing up watching this crap.
And they're fed this lie of this show works. They say it like 100 times
don't know.
every
Does
season.
anyone
Chris
believe
Harrison
that?
says it every single time.
We've looked up the
Trust the
statistics.
process. It's like, come on.
But the
the
process
process.
isn't real. It's
like
just
really, it's like
The
pumping
statistics
Tinder.
are pretty good. We
no,
did
they're
look these
not
up
because
like
you
a
know
month
what?
ago.
The Bachelor or the Bachelorette is always getting money. When money is involved, people lose their money.
Okay, but then how do you explain the
Money.
couple who has 4 kids now?
Money.
They've been married
It
for
started
10
because
years.
one of them was
Money.
getting
and
a
they have 4
paycheck.
kids.
They got money.
I think it's. I really think it's. I think the starting motivation is money. I think there might be an element of love there, but I think it's started with
I think it's
money,
completely
and
synthetic.
It drives.
You know what hooks me in
And it continues
this
with
show?
money. What is it?
is because now we know who the next contestant is, and we already saw them through this whole process. So like Michelle and Katie are now the next 2,
Yeah.
and I want to see
You
if
like
Michelle
the lore.
finds someone.
You
I like it.
I
do.
I think it's making it too like it
But
thinks
now
it's
you know
it's just assuming
Michelle's
so much.
life.
I guess the show's been
much.
running 25 years. What do I know? Like
It's
Well,
stupid.
it's been going for almost. I guess almost 20 years. Next year will be 20 years.
20 years.
That honestly,
Wow. And the
Causes
show
me pain.
spin-offs, the Listen to Your Heart spin-off.
Yeah.
Was
Oh
the
my
singers meeting
gosh,
each other.
can we
the
talk about
musicians.
that?
I want to talk about that. You mentioned cancel culture, and I want
Yeah.
to really get into this.
Yeah.
Because this is a really good example. Well, not a good example, but this is an element of cancel culture where, somebody is accused of something. Now, I will say, Rachel, 3 years is not long enough to be considered as in the past, but but there are a lot of these celebrities or people that become famous
Yep.
that then have this kind of deep dive into their lives. The same people that do this to the Bachelor and the Bachelorette is they go into and they find all these old things.
Yeah.
And they drudge it up, and then they say, well, this person did this in 2000 and whatever.
canceled.
Like, so how could we let him be this role in this movie, right?
I cancel Ryan like once a week.
Yeah. Ryan's canceled pretty frequently on this podcast. And
I need this show to give
Cancel
me
him.
the opportunity to say dumb things, right? Look, okay, but really though, like that's where cancel culture is broken because we're assuming that everyone's got their ducks in a row,
Which no
We
one
think
does.
Not
At the end of the
one
day, no one
person,
really does.
even the people like calling people to task is like what you're really like. You're the say all like to
See,
what this topic is.
There are elements to cancel culture I can understand because people like Harvey Weinstein have been canceled, and it's like, yes, Harvey Weinstein deserves
Yeah.
to be canceled.
No,
because
of course.
he is been doing this for a very long time. What he's doing
Right.
is wrong. Like, he shouldn't be able to do that anymore. However, there are also layers to cancel culture where I think there needs to be room for people to grow. And I mean, at the end of the day, we're all using social media. So social
Yeah.
media captures it all. And
Yeah.
we've known that from the beginning, that whatever you put on the internet is there forever.
Doesn't go away.
It will
well,
never
now
go
it's like
away.
everybody's putting everything on the internet.
well,
so like
the big one that I like, as far as cancel culture, the kind of the evidence is Kevin Hart.
Yeah.
I talked about this last episode, I think, a little bit.
Yeah.
But in 2019, they wanted him to host the Oscars. And Twitter, all the people on Twitter dredged up a tweet from 2011 that I think was deleted, where he made a pretty harsh,
was, like, homophobic. Yeah.
tweet. I mean, it was not okay. And the Oscar, but to be fair, he came out a couple years after that and apologized for it, and said like, this is a good, and that's why it was deleted. These people these trolls were using screenshots, and they were like bringing it to the front, right? Kevin has like who he was in 2011 and who he was in 2019 is a huge growth.
Yeah.
He's a massive movie star now, and he's matured. He's got companies. He's got
Right.
all
Yeah.
these things, right?
And
they brought it back up, and the Oscars wanted him to apologize for that tweet in 2011.
Yeah.
Which
And
he
when-
already apologized for.
Which he already did. And when he asked, when he said he wouldn't do it again, kind of taking a stand on this whole thing, saying like I need to put this to bed. Like I can't keep re-apologizing for this mistake I made
because that just
10
drives your
years ago,
career.
right?
Because it no longer represents who you are.
Right, and the Oscars wouldn't let him host.
I think the hard thing is that people don't know when to draw the line of like the consequences, because it's like
there's no
So
standard.
when should we draw the line?
Right, I don't
like,
know.
Like
I mean,
James Gunn,
it's hard because,
right?
like, for
the
me-
Guardians of the Galaxy director
Yeah.
had all these tweets, same kind of like 10 years ago, and they're really inappropriate. It wasn't like funny. It was like shock humor. He talked about like molesting a baby or something. It was like
Yeah.
ridiculous, like
Yeah, okay.
so
really, really
way
bad.
out of left field. But it was just like a shock factor, like
Trying to
joke
get a rise out of
on
people.
Twitter, trying to get a rise out of
He
people.
wasn't as famous. He's
He
just
wasn't.
trying to get, he's trying to
And
get.
it was ill received then, and
Yeah.
then whatever,
It was-
and then I
wasn't
think
received well there.
I think he apologized for it or something like years prior, and then it kind of got dredged up again
when he wanted to direct,
when he was going to direct
again.
Guardians of the Galaxy, and then they removed him from the project because like the same thing, like he even apologized again, and they're like, nope, sorry, judge,
Yeah.
jury, executioner is Facebook.
It's hard because it's like
It's Facebook.
sometimes it is good because maybe these things will never be brought to
I think
light.
the difference is patterns.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you look at Harvey Weinstein there, and there's like a clear pattern of like he is
raping women. I mean, we're
awful,
and that's
human.
what's crazy about cancel culture is like we're talking about so many different things, like
Yeah.
a
Yeah.
bad tweet and like a rapist.
Yeah.
you know,
Right.
it's like,
They
and
don't
then
even compare,
and
yeah.
then there's this voice of like, well, you're just trying to cancel. Like this is just cancel culture at work. It's like, no. We should know the difference between like, ending someone's career over a joke they made. Where in 2011, like obviously we've come a long way as a culture in the past 10 years. It's like,
Oh, yeah.
joking about being gay was so much more of a thing, like in
Which
movies and
I
pop
think-
culture.
I think what's hard is that it wasn't okay then, it's not okay now.
Of course,
But-
we who we're holding accountable for, like,
It- when
do we
it- when
start
it's-
holding people accountable for things starting now,
Right.
or like,
It's hard because it's like if the person wants to change, it depends on their actions.
Yeah.
And so I think if there's a time where it's like, okay, we address this was wrong, they apologize or they don't, and then we move on and see, okay, are they going to do things differently like in the future? And I think that's when you need to stop canceling people. If you see that they've truly changed and they've learned and they are continually learning, then
Yeah.
like you can't hold them accountable for something that they've already apologized for. However, there are people who do not change and they apologize because they have to, and will continue doing the same things that they
Well,
did.
that's
like,
like,
if
if
you're
you
if you're gonna take a stand on something, like you're like, oh, like that was just how I was back then.
Yeah.
Or is it sorry,
I'm
I've
so
come a long
sorry.
way from then.
Yeah.
Like obviously you don't still mean it now. Like if you've changed.
Yeah.
Like,
I think a pretty good example is Robert Downey Jr. How he straight up he went to prison and
Lived a different life.
living a completely
Yeah.
different life, and he changed like 360, went all the way around, changed his life. Like you can't go back and cancel
You gotta
him
walk the walk.
right.
for what he did. What was that, 20 plus years ago?
Yeah. I mean, he went through the ringer totally.
I
Like,
think also we kind of talked about that like passive racism thing, right? Where you're like, I don't, I'm just not going to talk about it, right? Like I'm not going to stand up for it. I'm not going to talk about it. And I
Yeah.
think that is what get people in this cancel culture is like Kevin Hart, like he's not. Maybe he didn't talk about it enough, because I think part of it, I know it sounds weird to like drudge it up. It might sound like you're like bringing it back up, but I think if Kevin maybe had been like a little more open about like, hey, this is what I think now, instead of being like, hey, that was a long time ago, that's not who I am anymore.
but like,
If you-
so does it make it wrong again that now that I've learned about something you did that you already apologized for, do you have to apologize to me again? Like, because I know that it happened now.
No, I'm not saying apologize again. I'm saying like just coming out and being honest about the topic,
Yeah.
and being like in Kevin's situation specifically with the homophobic tweets, instead of being like, I already apologized. This is I'm not that guy anymore.
Yeah.
Instead of being like defensive, coming at it as like, hey, that was a long time ago, but this is what I now like think and love about this
Yeah.
community.
Yeah.
And this is what I'm going to do to show you that like I support them.
Yeah.
That's the part that we need to cross is like, it should be more okay that he's changed. Like,
Yes.
yeah, crazy, right? Like that was what the culture was like back
yeah.
then. Like I said those things, and you know what? Like, I'm sorry. Like they're obviously wrong. Like,
I mean, it is kind of biblical in the way that like the whole whoever throws the first stone, Like nobody's perfect. At the end of the day,
the
everybody
internet
has
is
problems. And so there's stones being thrown every single day, whether for good or bad. But I think there needs to be space for people to learn and to change things. Because otherwise, like, what are you going to get out of canceling someone? Okay, you've canceled them.
Now that person
no
doesn't
longer
get
exist.
to function in society, doesn't get to make
They
their
will
art, doesn't
for
get
the
to
rest
whatever.
of their time, will never be able to contribute to society in the same way. And so it's like,
Which is like, if that person is, a leech on society and they're like actually, if they're like you said, like Harvey Weinstein, cancel him. Yeah, that dude sucks. He's a rapist. Like he shouldn't work anymore.
And so I think there's layers to it too. Like legally, if you're doing things that are illegal and you can go to jail for, like, obviously that's different. But I think it's difficult because there's a lot of hurting people and hurt people, and
of course
it's just difficult because it's everybody's suffering from it, on all sides. Even the people who are canceling, it's like that doesn't feel good.
No, of course, because it's like you said, like what do you get out of it?
Yeah.
Well, and you grow. I mean, think about like, and also it's easy to not think of them as a human and not think of them as a family member. Like, I know Chris Harrison is, not making great decisions right now, but is he a father?
Yes.
Yeah.
He's a daddy.
He's a okay.
Please never
I'll
cancel
tell you
him.
what.
Cancel Ryan.
Cancel me. Okay,
Cancel him.
he's good looking,
No,
so
God.
he can get away
Cancel
with anything.
Ryan.
Like he's like a brother to somebody, or he's a son. Like there's like the human. And again,
Unfortunately.
I get it. He's definitely in a space where he's not making clear decisions.
He just needs accountability.
But and I think he'll get there. But the problem is, like, does he stay canceled? Like, and also,
should
what
he
does
be
do?
working in the industry?
Well, and also, if he wants to come back to the show or to anything in showbiz, like, what? I mean,
What does
how
that
do you
look
How does
like?
it look like?
I mean, yeah. I want to be like, apologize, better yourself, and let's freaking move on with life.
And maybe
The
it
problem
is.
is the show is toxic, and there's a lot of underlying things, and Hollywood
maybe
sucks, and
It's
all
hard
of
too
it.
because like different situations.
Wow.
How much time do you have? I'll soapbox right now.
No, we know.
We do it every week.
We know you will. We know you will. It's hard too because sometimes there's not a clear line of healing. Like there's not a clear line to reconcile what you've done. So people like to say like, okay, you should do this, and that'll fix the situation. But there's really no.
It's like Kevin Hart went on the defense because he's watching what's happening in Hollywood.
Yeah.
And he's like, no, like I'm not gonna, that can, like, even apologize, like going through a scandal, like if I can even call it a scandal like that, like affects people's careers too. Like maybe that casting director saw that, and whether or not you apologize, like they've formed their opinion.
Yeah.
And now like maybe Kevin Hart is out of work. I don't know. He's gonna be fine.
He's gonna be fine.
But like
I think the cancel
person.
culture is just something to be consciously aware of as a society.
Yeah.
Because I think it like Olivia brought up, like it catches bad people.
Yeah.
And that's good. But there are good people that make mistakes, that are being wronged, and that are being like completely iced out or blackballed, and like that's not cool. But I think it's kind of like a barometer, we when we get a situation, like sure, let's assess it. And there will always be crazy people. There'll always be
some
trolls.
people just want to watch the world burn, man.
Don't we know it?
I'll tell you what.
We've lived that in the last year, and so that's where I'm saying, like, I think the cancel culture is just something to be consciously aware of, in the sense that like there's no perfect formula, but at the same time, like, I think we should be aware as a society. I think it's fair to say like, hey, we should be cautious when we're going in on these celebrities because one, they're people, and two,
Are they?
Well, maybe some of them.
I think they sold out a long time ago.
Yeah.
Really?
You know
To some kind of higher power. I don't know.
What was
which
good
higher power?
TV?
Be it angel or
Is-
demon. I don't know.
Okay, yeah. Does he have horns?
Yeah, I got his number.
Horns or halo?
You know
Yeah,
what
yeah.
was good TV?
Give it
The
to me.
Grammys.
Yeah, let's talk about the Grammys.
Wow. I just want to say
Go ahead.
the universe is listening because we came up with a better way to do an awards ceremony, and they did it.
Yeah.
They heard us.
So
They
much
were
better.
listening.
I think the Grammys
Let's
are
talk about
watching our
the
show.
layout.
Yeah. For
Okay, so
sure.
first of all, big fan of. There was
The
just
Grammys?
a room, right, where like a bunch of all the performers were just
They used
in this
the
big
inside
room.
of the Staples
Chef's
Center.
kiss into the mic.
It was this like
Mwah.
theater in the round kind of situation, right? Like, and it was like back to back. Okay, Harry Styles perform, Billie Eilish perform,
Can I just
Haim
say,
perform.
if we can have a ton of musicians in a room like that, at every chance we get.
All
Like, let's
sitting
do
and
it.
supporting each other,
Like,
listening to each other's
absolutely.
I
music.
cannot watch that enough. I want a whole 10 seasons of
Yeah.
that because I just think it's so cool. Like, just seeing performers
That was the best part.
straight up stripped
In my
down.
opinion.
Like, there's no audience.
awesome.
Like, it's just about the music.
So I think their full layout was the only people who were invited were the hosts, and then the family,
The nominees.
and like whoever worked on their stuff with them,
Yeah.
because it was only the people who performed who were the people nominated, and then when they were done performing, they like switched with the people outside to in their category.
Yeah.
So they
Yeah.
were the ones sitting in the seats.
Nice.
Or
So
if they were
smart.
in that category, you sit and wait. But if you're going to perform, this whole group of
listening.
people goes.
Grammys we
I mean,
love.
I still hate award shows. I thought
know
the
what's-
award show section was still pretty
Well,
trash.
pretty notable things going on
Yeah.
last night. Beyonce broke the record for the most Grammys for a female artist.
yes.
At
Pretty great.
Does anyone know the number?
On the technicality, because it wasn't
Isn't
like
it like
Anyone-
20,
anyone wanna
28?
guess?
It was 28.
Oh.
it wasn't like her
was
album,
gonna
but
say
she like
26.
worked on it
Yeah.
and her name was on it. So it like
It was
Yeah.
Megan Thee Stallion. She like it was like you win best R&B. There you go. And then Beyonce went up. I didn't even know that Beyonce worked on that song
Uh-huh.
with her.
Same.
But Beyonce went up there with her, and then when they were going down, they were like, "Stop, stop, stop."
It was
Trevor
Yeah,
Noah.
she
Noah.
sings.
Trevor Noah.
She sings on it. I
Not
think.
my favorite,
Right?
but-
She like sings a verse.
Dude,
Or I think she
couldn't
produced
handle
it.
him at
Oh,
all.
really?
It's kind of a lot, but
He's a lot.
But 28 Grammys is really nothing.
That's a
to-
feat right there.
Yeah, and now she's tied for the most Grammys for
Of all time.
male or female of all time, and with
Quincy Jones.
Quincy Jones.
Quincy Jones,
which is
the genius
insane.
behind the Austin Powers theme song.
He was
So
also you should
good.
know,
Oh
like,
my gosh.
Quincy's like
No
he's
cap.
he's an eight.
Soul Bossa Nova is what it's called.
He's,
Oh my
he's a
gosh.
producer, right?
Yeah.
So he
Big producer.
He literally, but what was kind of funny about him and Beyonce being tied is like he essentially has like 6 or 7 horses in the race, like because he produces like for a lot of
Yeah.
artists. So
Right.
I mean, for him to get a lot of awards, in my head, I'm like, of course,
Yeah.
because his name's like tacked onto all these different things,
Right.
you know. So I think it's pretty impressive that Beyonce is keeping up with
On her
Quincy
own. Yeah.
on her own. You
Yeah.
know, again, she's doing the same thing. She's tacking on to you know
Megan Thee Stallion.
Megan Thee Stallion.
Yeah.
Ugh. And I'm sorry,
Oh no, John.
I just don't like her. I
John.
don't like her music.
Oh.
I'm sorry.
Okay.
There's nothing. It's nothing against her personally, of course. I mean, I don't know her personally.
I think TikTok had a lot of say in who got a Grammy this year.
That's true,
Yeah.
actually.
And Billie Eilish won in
Yeah.
4 of her categories.
Ryan, oh
I just
my-
checked it. Sorry, I
Ryan?
was reading Quincy Jones' Grammy wins.
Oh,
Yeah.
they all over the board.
Well, Michael Jackson's Thriller.
Oh wow!
Oh
The
my gosh.
album for E.T. the Extraterrestrial. I mean, this dude's all over the map.
That's what
I'm
Michael
saying.
Jackson's beat
Wow.
it.
But you know what I'm saying,
The We
though?
Are the World performance. We Are the World
You know
music
what I'm saying, though?
video.
Like that's why it's kind of impressive that Beyonce's like tied with him.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Like kudos to her.
He's
It's
casting a wide
interesting.
net. Wow,
She- the candle
the
just
candle
went
just blew out. That's great. Whoa, it's
Hey,
getting smoky in
spooky.
here.
I mean, it is kind of interesting because it's like, I wonder if the work equates to the same thing. Because if you're one person, but
Yeah.
at the same time, like Quincy Jones is out there producing, collaborating with
I
so
wonder what
many
her-
people.
I'm
Like,
gonna look up hers now.
Well, that's what I think it's really a testament to Beyonce.
Yeah.
I think Quincy. I'm not surprised that Quincy has a lot of Grammys. I kind of, if I had to guess of somebody that has the most awards in anything, I would say Quincy because he's like, again, he's talented. I'm not taking away from his talent.
Well, he's like one of those legacy artists.
Yeah, and
you know?
so I think he deserves it, and he's done a lot of really good work. But I'm
Yeah.
also not surprised. But I am surprised that Beyonce, like as a single artist, is catching up with that guy.
Yeah.
She's putting in work.
LOL
Yeah.
that they still have an urban contemporary album category.
Oh my
That's
God.
what
Well-
in 2017 she won for Lemonade.
Yeah, that's
Well,
not a
The
thing
urban
anymore, right?
contemporary
You know what's-
album.
you
So
know
what
what's
does that
funny
mean?
is-
Like urban music, like
well, that's what's
yeah.
questionable.
I'm just that's what the category is.
That's
That's,
what
what
the
I'm
category
saying.
is called,
No,
yeah.
I'm not like being a racist. I'm
Okay,
saying
cancel
okay.
him. Cancel
no.
him.
I'm saying the category is the
Yeah, yeah.
Grammys are the racist.
Yeah, okay. Well,
Well,
that's what they're
is that
saying.
not a-
Whatever.
Okay.
Don't cancel me.
Well, that's what
okay.
they're saying.
Okay.
That's kind of been a topic because they're saying, she has all these Grammys, 28 Grammys, Beyonce, but she's never won Album of the Year. Whereas Taylor Swift obviously white artist, has won it 3 times. Now there is a conversation here because I will say you have some big Taylor Swift fans
Big Swifties
in
the room. Just it's Cara.
But I'm
It's-
saying
talking about Cara.
it's something to note because I mean, how is this thing judged? Who knows? I mean, and also this we're talking about snubs too. The Weeknd's pretty pissed. He's not submitting his music anymore to the Grammys, which is another big story.
I mean, yeah, if we're talking about the
Oh,
Weeknd,
he's not submitting his music
Not
for
anymore.
Grammy
He's done.
consideration.
I just think it's
good
I
on
think
him,
it's ridiculous
right?
that
Yeah.
he didn't
The
win
Grammys
anything
suck.
this year. Was he nominated even?
No, he wasn't even
No,
nominated.
that's what he's saying is he's not submitting like the
But for
whole
this
for your
year? No,
No,
consideration.
this year he submitted.
Oh, he did?
He was not nominated.
I think that's
Wow.
ridiculous. It's like, what are
He
you
was-
judging the music based on?
I mean-
then? Like, are you not judging? If we're talking about TikTok, like he was all over TikTok, and he literally performed the
He had
halftime
a-
show.
He had a record year with this album.
Yeah.
What's
Yeah.
it called? Blinding Lights. He
so
had
good.
And that's what he's saying. He's like, my stuff was everywhere. He's
Yeah.
like, I'm not bragging on myself. He's like, but
It is
people
what it
loved
is.
you know?
Yeah.
And he's like, and then I submit, and I don't even get a nomination.
Yeah.
You know,
Because
it's rigged.
it's rigged.
Well, I mean,
I'll go there. Like, yeah, it's rigged. I mean, you
But
know,
then it's like,
but it's kind of the thing too.
uh,
Like, does making a popular album make you like? Does that mean it's a good album? Like,
Well, that's what we talked about last time when we talked about Golden Globes. Is
Yeah.
what's the bearing on these award shows, and how much power are we giving them?
Yeah.
like the #1 movie of all time is Avengers Endgame, right? It like fully blew out the box
But see,
office.
it's like-
and like, does that like just because everyone went and saw it, does that mean it's like critically acclaimed?
No,
like,
yeah.
well,
I
no,
think it depends on
but-
how you're judging movies.
Right.
Like,
Was it
Depends
about
on how
judging
you're
movies?
judging music.
Or who you're up against.
But it's not. But it's not just about like, was that song better than that song? Was that
Yeah.
album better than that album? It's like,
Politics.
did Billie Eilish really deserve to win Record of the Year? I don't know.
Well, and
like,
she made a.
it was a
nod
good
to,
record, but-
Yeah.
Megan
She came
Megan
out.
Stallion.
It came out that she.
Style.
There was an article. I don't know if she said it. I didn't
She
like
said
dig
it.
in deep, but I guess she felt embarrassed that she
Mm-hmm.
won, and that she did. She like
She's like,
nodded
this is
to
for
her.
you. This is
for
really you deserve.
The whole
this,
thing was
blah, blah,
that
blah.
she was like, yeah, you fully
Well,
deserve
there
it.
was a lot of artists that did that. You know, artists that won in big categories and ended up dedicating their award to a black artist that was nominated in their category. I think you're seeing again, even the performers and the artists go Grammys.
But look,
Like, what are you
I mean,
doing?
Harry Styles is great. He got a Grammy. I'm good with that. You know,
This is his first time.
Taylor
This is his
Swift
first
put
time.
out
First time.
His first time ever winning a Grammy.
One Direction didn't win.
What did he
any
win
Grammys.
for?
No.
Did he win for?
I mean, are you
best
surprised
pop
One Direction-
song?
Not really.
What did he
but
win
I
for?
thought, like in my head.
You would
He
think,
won
yeah, maybe.
best pop album.
Best pop? No, that was
Right?
Single.
No, that was
maybe.
Dua Lipa.
No, he won it for Watermelon Sugar. So best
Yeah.
pop single,
Song,
pop
single,
solo
yeah.
or whatever.
We need
Dua
to slim
Lipa
down the
won.
categories too. Like,
Yeah.
some of them needs to be cleaned out.
Make it
Like
quick,
we were saying
totally.
earlier, the
snappy.
urban one, like what?
I think I
How
don't know.
is that
I think
even a
they
thing?
abolished that or
Yeah.
eliminated
Okay.
that or
Okay,
whatever.
well, great.
Because it, you know, it's like you said, like maybe Beyonce will win Record of the Year now because it's
I
like
think hers were. She just like last year she didn't come. This Grammy year
This
she
is
didn't
a
come
Taylor
out with
Swift
an
fan.
album.
Defending. Go ahead.
Well, she didn't come out with an album, so there's no way for her to win album of the year
Yeah,
this year.
sure.
And then I think every other year that Taylor Swift has won one, because Taylor Swift hasn't won album of the year in 2 years.
Oh,
They were it never aligned. No,
She
no.
hasn't won
I'm
that
s-
of the
oh
year
my
in
gosh.
2 years. It's
I'm
been
saying
2 whole years.
Her and
since
Beyonce's
Taylor.
album.
and she only
haven't
makes an album
aligned.
every 2 years.
Album of the year at the Grammys.
Oh my god!
no.
I'll tell you what. 1989 slaps though. Don't come at me
Here's
for
what
Taylor
I'll say.
Swift.
In Taylor's defense,
Yeah.
I was in the article zone for Taylor Swift, and I watched a video of like her recap of her career. She's put out a lot of music.
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
Big body of work.
You know what? And she's shifted genres. I'll give it to her.
She's put
Yeah.
out 13 albums. 13.
You
Since
know
the
who
beginning.
never?
8.
Hey,
13.
you know who never won a Grammy?
What?
The Beatles.
Yeah, the Beatles never won.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Can we just all agree that the Grammys don't have any bearing, and that they're just like people deciding things, and it doesn't
I mean,
really matter.
every award show is subjective, right? Like
I know.
award shows themselves,
People
it's like,
get
what are you
paid.
honoring? Like, are you honoring accomplishments? Is it all politics?
You
Like,
know what I see? I foresee happening, and you'll love this.
Yep. Give it
I
to me.
foresee that people like the Weeknd will just start pulling out, and then the
Won't
show
do it
kind of
anymore.
collapses.
Yeah, maybe.
You know,
It's hard to say though, because at the end of the
Nah.
day, people want to be successful, and that's how we measure success in
Yeah.
society.
I mean, they get paid either way. They're actually paying to be considered for a
Right.
Grammy. So,
But
Okay, correction.
It's about the
Taylor Swift
clout.
has 9 albums. I'm sorry.
thank
9.
you. I was wrong.
Yeah,
I was
that
getting
was a
13
little-
because her
13.
because her
That was a
birthday is the
little
13th.
generous.
Her favorite
I
number
was
is
like,
13.
my God.
13 albums.
And she
Okay.
puts out all of her
Yeah,
albums on
I
the
bet.
13th.
I wasn't gonna call you
That's
out, but I did watch the video, so I do know how many albums.
It's
but
9.
anyways.
In my opinion, I feel like now listen, people are always tearing apart Taylor Swift.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that's fair. I think she's a great artist. I think she's very talented. And I think she has withstood the test of time in the fact that she's been in the industry since she was a young girl
Uh-huh.
and she's still doing it. I think that's all great. However, I feel like she should push herself more in her music. Like I feel like this whole folklore album, which people love folklore, and I can see why. It's good. But I feel like all of her songs follow a similar pattern in the way that they sound very,
Dude,
very similar, and they
why do
talk
you
about the
think
same
she's-
things.
Why do you think she's so popular?
Yeah.
She figured out.
I want the formula.
The formula.
But I want
I
I want
think-
new
Figured out the
music
formula.
from her in the way that I want new songs.
Like Harry Styles. Like,
So-
Harry Styles is very unique.
Yeah, every
So-
song is different on the
Do
album.
you want to hear my opinion?
Go
Yes,
ahead,
I
here-
do.
Oh,
We have an actual
We've been
Swiftie
waiting 2
here.
years.
We've been waiting 2
Actually,
years.
The last time Taylor Swift won Album of the Year at the Grammys to hear your thoughts.
Let's hear
Go
it.
ahead.
So Taylor Swift makes her albums so they're like stories. Every single album has the same sound for a reason.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a reason why she's won Album of the Year in 3 different genre categories.
Because she's
Every
popular.
single time. She's done country, pop, and now she's getting into more of like a
Indie.
indie,
It's still pop.
indie pop.
It's all pop.
but
It's still pop. Whoa,
I like-
It's all
There's
pop.
nothing
Indie
indie
about
about,
it.
Taylor Swift.
look at
All
this
right.
last album was very
Do you know what indie stands for? Independent.
Oh, well then.
That's
so
pretty
there you go.
Thank you.
So,
I was thinking of it
wait,
more as a
Taylor-
vibe,
Let me finish.
but
Let me
you're
finish.
right.
Let me
I'll pop
finish.
off. I will pop off right now.
Let me
Taylor
finish.
Swift is the antithesis of indie. There's nothing indie if I ever hear that out of your mouth again.
Let me finish.
All right, go ahead. Make your point. Make your point. Audio listeners
There
are
will
like,
be hell to pay. There will be
So-
hell to pay.
Her
Go ahead.
last, before Folklore, her last one was Lover, and then it was Reputation. Can you
Trash.
Can
Both
you
of them
tell me
trash.
between Reputation and Lover, there was a huge difference?
No, sorry,
Yes.
no. Reputation was
No,
trash.
look. In mood or in
Oh my
what?
God.
Like
In mood and sound. Reputation had such a
It's still
completely
her.
different sound.
no,
No,
not
no,
really.
sorry.
Not
but
really.
All of her songs sound the same.
Okay.
Very
next
similar.
week
Except
we're
for
gonna have-
Shake It Off
Screw all
sounds
of you.
different.
the
Screw
most,
all of
the
us.
most,
Shake It Off sounds
It's
different.
been an intense episode.
the most like
Am I right?
standalone
Shake
album.
it
That's why I
off.
said
Shake
1989
it off.
slaps
Or
because
the-
it's this like
The Me one. What is it? The Me with
Never
Brandon
gonna,
Urie.
never like me.
bleh.
Yeah, I don't like that song.
Yeah, that's
Okay,
on.
but you all know it and you're all singing it.
Yeah, because it's in the public eye.
Because I literally hear it while I'm sleeping.
it's-
Like
Also
it's not my
sing Ellis
choice.
Brown, but I don't really love him either.
Whoa.
So why?
Cancelled. Look. 1989 slaps. Okay.
Yeah, no,
it's
I'm
got
not
that
saying I
vintage
don't like her sound. I
but
love
it's
her
also
sound.
like kind of mixed with this like new.
I love
thing.
love story.
Here's
It's
what
good.
I'll say.
Look, like I said, she found the formula. She makes good pop music.
Okay, here's
It's all
what
on the radio.
Here's what I want.
Give it.
This is
Come on.
what I want. An ongoing. And we're going
Let's
to
hear it.
carry to next week. Cara, you select 2 songs from both of those albums.
No.
That are very much different.
From which ones? Which
the ones you
albums?
mentioned. You said there was a difference between
Lover and
So
Reputation.
I'm gonna choose Reputation and Lover because
Okay.
the last 2 that came out,
Okay.
she wrote both of them during quarantine, and she
Okay.
came out that they're like sister albums, so
Okay.
they
Yeah.
sounded like they're one.
I think that's
you
the thing
choose
for me.
one from that and choose one from
Reputation.
Reputation.
Reputation and Lover.
I
You
can't-
want both of them, and you're.
I would even
but
give you like Folklore is new and like
No.
kind of different
It's
from
not.
her.
It's
but
not.
but
Is growth.
Reputation and Lover are like very similar.
No, they're not.
this is
No, they're not.
Okay. Then choose a song from each album.
Okay.
And that you believe are very different.
Okay.
Bring them to the show next week, and we'll listen to them.
And we're gonna cancel you.
You got it.
Look.
I'm sorry, folklore.
I think I like cancel
and
culture again.
Folklore and what's the other one? Folklore and
Evermore.
Evermore.
are the exact same album
No,
front to
they're
back.
identical.
Which
Yeah.
whether that's intentional or not, whatever.
Yes.
But all of the songs on the album sound the
Yeah.
same.
Okay.
So
And
it's like you're not.
In regards to like you're saying, in regards to that album versus the one before that, which was Lover,
Yes.
those sound kind of different, but not. Like her songwriting is pretty by the book. Her melodies are pretty like similar across the board.
And it's not that I don't like them.
She's not
it's
like breaking new ground.
It's like if I heard Watermelon Sugar 10 times on Harry Styles' album.
Look, and I won't say that he's like the innovator either. Like he's also making pop music.
Oh,
like
yes, totally. I think he is replicating sounds from like
Of
Paul
course.
McCartney or artists like Mick Jagger who have come
Nothing's
before
original
him.
anymore.
No,
Nothing is
no,
original anymore.
But as
So-
far as Taylor Swift's sound, I would like to hear a song
So
from
the
her
Taylor
that's
Swift
new.
challenge is, Cara, bring 2 songs, one from each album, that you believe are distinctly different. Now, I don't know how we're going to do it on the show because we can't listen to them here.
we'll do it.
But-
That'll be the post show.
I'll
But
do
we will
post or pre.
bring
And then
them
we'll share our thoughts.
We'll
share
talk
our
about
thoughts
it.
on next
I
week's
can even
episode.
go as far as on folklore. I can play 2 different songs that sound different.
Okay.
I can do that too.
Let's
Wow.
do all of it.
Because you guys are in for a treat.
You're-
Because I know all of
make
these
a
I
songs
think
presentation.
front to back.
this is potentially dangerous though, because when you do like, if we're gonna pinpoint like one song to another song, like it's more in album in essence. Like Taylor Swift just sounds like Taylor Swift. Like
Whatever,
she has
we're gonna
figured
do
out.
it. We're gonna do it.
Here's the thing.
Whatever.
Then,
You know what?
then
Yes,
Ryan,
we're in.
Counter it. Bring me some evidence that shows
Of new music that is
that
innovative.
that's
You got it, baby.
That's similar. Take Taylor's body of work and find some actual like substance for us to say, okay,
This
they are
sounds like
similar.
homework, John. Don't make me do that. Don't
Well,
make
Cara
me do
seems
that.
into it. Cara's gonna do it.
She's into it. Of course she's into
I'm into it
it.
because I know every single song front to back by
Okay,
heart.
we'll
That
bring
you
it
do.
next
So
week.
I want to know, on a more positive note, what is
ahead.
it that you love about Taylor Swift?
Yeah, let's end with that.
I
Something
love-
positive.
I like that she's not scared to speak her mind and let out any kind of music. Like I loved how she literally for folklore was like, I wrote this during quarantine, like I'm sending it out, whatever. And then Evermore was 3 months later because she said she couldn't stop writing.
Yeah.
And she didn't care what anyone thought about what it sounded like. She just put it out.
That's why I am into this new album. The fact that she did like collaborations with Bon Iver. Hello. Like
Is that
knock
how you
knock,
pronounce
it's
it?
8th grade Ryan.
It's not Bon Iver.
I thought it was Bon Iver too.
Bon Iver.
Bon
Until
Iver.
Bon Iver.
you told me that.
Bon
Really?
Iver. That sounds weird.
He's like European. I don't know.
Yeah.
Cool.
Bon Iver.
That's cool.
So yeah.
Look, I'm into that. Like, definitely branch out and try new things, Taylor. If I'm speaking to her,
Hey, Taylor.
can you put the camera on me,
Taylor,
Cara?
if
on
you're
you.
listening,
Taylor,
wish you are listening.
I love you, baby. Branch out, keep making weird stuff. I want you to do like a ska album next, or
I
like,
feel like, yeah, maybe she's just scared. Maybe she's nervous.
you know what? My favorite.
That's
She
what
went
you-
from country to
She's
pop.
just scared.
That
my
was a
new
big
favorite
thing.
album, or my new favorite
Yeah, that
album.
was. You know what? I do appreciate that jump. I thought that was a very brave jump, and she did it very gracefully.
You know-
But
Could've
shake it
gotten-
off.
She could have gotten
But
taken
now
off
she's at a
of all
stalemate.
music.
Wait, what?
Shake it off.
That's
Shake it
pop
off.
through and through. You know who's innovating in music right now? Moon Hooch. It's a trio of dudes. Two of
Yeah.
them are on
Moon Hooch.
It's
are on
actually pretty good.
saxophones. One of these saxophones is a baritone sax with a traffic cone stuck into it that he plays these like sub, like what's it called? Dubstep. It's like
Woofers.
dubstep from saxophones.
Wow.
John, I'm going to play it
listen
for
to
you.
it,
We're going
yeah.
to listen to it after the show.
Also, I
just blew your mind.
haven't literally listened to anything from her new stuff.
I think you'd love it.
You know
What is it
what?
called?
Like,
It's pretty good.
Evermore,
Folklore.
and
It's
Evermore.
like two. It's like a
I'll
double
listen to it
album.
this week. I'll prepare for your presentation.
You're
next
gonna
week.
have to.
I like
Thank you.
Wolfpack.
Full pick.
They're pretty
Yeah.
good.
Or is
Ryan.
it Volpeg?
Ryan,
Is it Wolfpack? What's up, baby?
do you have a pod deck?
She's pushing.
I
us.
do. I guess
I'm
the
pushing
show.
it. Yep,
I guess
I'm
the
pushing
show's coming to an end
This is why
here.
we have producers like this.
Wrap it up.
She's like, this is my keep the call going. We're tracing it. Look,
If you were reincarnated as a famous landmark, which would it be?
didn't we have?
I
Animal
don't like
last
this
time?
one.
No,
Yeah.
last week was who's your like
Mascot.
Mascot.
Got it.
Yeah, which is kind of like spirit animal.
Starfish.
But if you were to die and you were reborn as a famous landmark, first of all, that would be a terrible life. But
Yeah,
I
I'm not
would-
even gonna get into the logistics of that.
no. I would have to choose.
I just have a question before we start.
Yeah, go ahead.
What's up?
If you get hungry as a landmark, is rain your food?
Okay, thank you.
If you
It's
get
a good
sleepy,
question.
if you get sleepy as a landmark, do you get to like lay on your side?
Oh no.
Okay, but like I have a question.
Yep. Go ahead.
Regarding the question.
Okay.
Follow-up question.
Okay.
So like landmark, is it like have to be like a specific building, or it can be like an iconic
It can be like
street?
land.
I want you to take
yeah,
famous.
If it's a street.
No, no, it's not.
That's a landmark.
No,
Okay.
no.
Like, yeah.
Okay, only if it's like Abbey Road. Like that's a
Yeah.
famous landmark. Not
Newport
like
Avenue.
no, not like the 8 freeway. Okay.
Okay, that's not a landmark.
Ryan, history has been made on the 8 freeway. Do you know how many famous people have
do you
driven on the
got?
8
What do you
freeway?
got?
Yeah.
I'm gonna be the
Ryan.
Statue of Liberty.
I know what you'd be.
What would I be?
Oh.
World's biggest beer can?
No,
Potato
you'd
chip.
be in the sequoias. You'd
That's
be a
not-
big tree.
Does that count? Are we also
That's-
doing like national parks?
That's pretty good.
I would want
That's
to
a
be.
landmark.
I
General
don't know
Sherman.
the
That's
exact
cool.
location, but I would want to be. I don't know if there's also if there's multiple or not, but
Yep.
I would want to be a theater in of Broadway.
Oh.
I don't know if there's multiple. Is there?
What's
Yeah,
the
there is.
Hamilton
There's like
one?
4.
So I would be one of those.
The Richard Rogers
The
Theater?
Richard Rogers Theater.
I would be
That's
the
a good
Richard
one.
That's a good
Rogers Theater.
That's a good
Because
one.
I get to watch.
What a
all these
theater
cool
kid.
shows.
What a theater kid.
I think I keep me entertained. And that's
You get to
okay.
watch them or do you just
You?
feel them?
The
Wait,
landmark.
so where are your eyes in the landmark? Like, are your eyes the whole building?
back
or-
of the theater.
Yeah.
Oh,
Okay,
smart.
got it.
Best seat in the house.
Good call. Best seat in the house.
Oh my gosh, wait, that one's so much better than what I was
I would
thinking.
be the Cinerama Dome
Do you
in
hate
Hollywood.
My
I love that answer. I just
Cinerama Dome.
look.
I'm so scared.
Tell me why you don't like my
I
answer.
think there was room for
Thank-
comedy there.
Okay.
Like your eyes could have been on the outside of the building. You don't get to see a show, but you
feel
made
the
it too
shows.
easy for yourself.
Thank you.
It's in your heart. The show's in your heart.
What are
would
you gonna
be the
be?
Statue of Liberty, like I said,
Okay.
because you get to stand around holding a torch all day
Yeah, you probably get your
and
arm
a
gets
little
tired.
book.
It's not a real torch.
Okay, and you have like
You're
a
a beacon
blue
of
dress
hope.
and a crown.
Yeah.
Like whatever.
So cool.
Yeah,
We should
alright.
do
What do you
we
guys
should do
got?
a segment about Statue of Liberty. I think
Well-
there's really cool stuff there. Anyways, go ahead.
That's about the Statue of Liberty.
Well, just like the history of it, it's cool. Like, didn't like another country give it to us or something?
France.
Right?
Yeah.
That's
Delhi?
awesome.
I think it was it given? I thought we like built it.
No,
in Paris.
it was
No,
given.
it was given to us.
No.
We'll find out later.
It was like
Okay.
Go ahead,
Pull
Olivia.
that up.
that's a conversation for another podcast.
My first thought was the Eiffel Tower, but then I'm like, the Eiffel Tower seems
oui,
basically
oui.
nothing. Like you get
Mon
to see
ami.
Pelé, but I don't know.
You
Like
see romance.
Marcelli.
that's true. That's true.
Think about how
very
many
true.
proposals a day you see at the
Oh
Eiffel
gosh,
Tower.
I feel like I get sick of it. Like, come on.
Get this
It's not like I'm
outta
like
here.
it's not like I'm getting proposed to by like Mount Rushmore or something. You know, like I'm just there, single. Yikes. Okay, or the Eternal Flame. That would be cool. I get to watch the Olympics.
Oh,
Right?
not the one at like
I was
John F.
thinking- I was
Kennedy's.
thinking the John F. Kennedy.
God, no.
Eternal
Oh
Flame.
my
John F.
god.
Kennedy's
No,
what's it
that's
called?
so
His
dark.
crypt or whatever it is.
Yikes. Oh my god.
That
no.
Is he in a
so
crypt?
crazy.
No, thank you.
Doesn't matter.
No.
Go ahead,
Oh,
Cara.
yeah, go ahead, Cara. I'm gonna think.
My first thought would be Niagara
National
Falls,
Forest.
Oh.
That's pretty good.
just because pretty waterfall.
You were in the office.
And then I'm also thinking like a big like landmark, like the Amazon forest. Like
Amazon forest
reincarnate
is
somewhere in
on
the
fire.
Amazon
Yeah, I was gonna
forest.
say
It's burning down.
You're done. So.
You're
Sorry.
fire, Cara. You're on fire.
go
Oh
ahead,
wait,
Olivia.
wait, no, I have one.
All right.
Um,
Taylor Swift's bedroom. Got it. Just kidding. I'm joking. I'm joking. No, hold on. I was just joking.
Get her.
I
Get her.
was just joking.
Okay,
I'm so
reel that
sorry.
back. Take that back.
What? Oh, did you hear that? Reel
Take
that
it
back. Thank you. Yeah.
no, I want to be.
Taylor
This-
Swift's
Why do I?
big house.
So stupid.
Her studio.
It doesn't even take like stuff.
I keep choosing places that are dying because my second one, which
Oh,
now is my first,
no.
is the Great Barrier Reef.
I knew it.
Oh my gosh.
I had to be. Wow.
You guys.
Yeah,
Okay.
I choose that Great Barrier Reef.
Speaking of landmarks, I did a deep dive this past couple of weeks listening to in snippets the Mirror Effect episode with Kat. Learned a lot about Mount Rushmore, so definitely wouldn't pick that one.
Yeah.
Oh.
Do not pick that one.
Great. By the way,
Oh, no.
great episode. Thank you.
I think
And
it's one of my
another
best.
shout
Link
out to
it down
Kat.
below.
It's
Link
not. It's
down
really
below.
not my podcast.
Well,
it's everybody's podcast.
I think it's
but-
like the world's podcast. You know, like
Yeah.
it's so.
Thank you.
It's so
Hey,
bigger
you're
than.
coming out this month, by the way.
Am I? I was
So,
kind
by
of
the time
about
this
that.
goes live, your episode will be live
Wow.
too.
Wow.
Really?
Yeah, I'm making myself a deadline.
Okay, cool. season 3, baby.
I feel like I'd want to be Central Park.
Okay, that's,
that's a
a
good
good one.
one.
Thank you.
A lot of shady things
Olivia.
happening.
Oh,
Let us
God.
know if you're watching this.
I'm just
Never
saying
mind. It's a
after
big
dark.
park.
I'm just saying
Okay.
after dark.
If you're watching this, let us
Okay.
know what national landmark.
National landmark.
I don't wanna be
you
Central
wanna
Park.
reincarnated
I don't want to be
as-
Central Park anymore.
You know what I don't like about this element is
Go
that
ahead.
you've lived a life, you've
Yep.
died, and you come back.
You're hoping to go
so
to
you have all
heaven.
your memories as a person,
Oh, that's horrible.
Yeah.
and you know what
just
it's
have to
like
watch
just
the
walk
world
around and
walk
just
by you.
and you just never die unless they
That is
decide to.
Oh my gosh.
tear it
The
down.
entire idea behind reincarnation, you die and you're reborn and you don't have
You don't
memories,
have the
do you?
memories. No, you're just brand
So you're
new.
just
Are
the
you
Eiffel
sure?
Tower. You're just the Eiffel Tower. Like
How do you die?
You
how
don't-
you die
well,
in normal
So
life.
wait, how do you?
I don't know.
Anyways, we're getting too far.
I
don't know, the Great Barrier Reef is dying, so-
I think it's time for some
Olivia,
TikTok.
Yay.
Kara is just pushing the show right along.
TikTok.
We're going.
What time are we at?
We got an hour
But the
15,
party
baby.
don't
Yeah.
stop.
Yikes.
Guys,
Right.
you
Hey, but this
very
is a good
ru-
time.
very rudely cut off the intro to this segment.
Oh yeah, go ahead.
Ryan and John react.
This is a good time while we're getting this ready.
Go ahead.
To know that we talked a lot about a lot of really heavy subjects today.
We did.
And I think it's good to talk about it.
Yeah.
But we're also not experts. I know
Of course.
I know it feels like gimmicky to like put that on there, but you know,
It's
Yeah.
true.
we're
And
just we're expressing our feelings, and if you disagree, if you want to have a conversation about it,
We welcome
engage
it,
us.
actually.
yeah,
Like,
we're
like,
not above learning and having good conversations.
cancel
drag us in the
Yeah.
comment section. I think
Ryan
it is
will be
as we continue these conversations, like giving a healthy amount of space for people to
Yeah.
grow, for people to learn new information,
Yeah.
and then like show some grace. I don't know, whatever.
And sometimes it's literally just someone telling you that's not okay, and you move on. You
course.
learn and you move on.
Yeah.
Let's do this thing. TikTok.
On the clock. Okay, I don't know which one to show you first. They're all so good.
Show us that one.
Okay, I'll show you
I've
this
seen
one.
Yes.
some of these.
Okay.
Okay.
And
make
I'm
sure this
very
is
scared
real.
about the audio. Very always.
blaring.
headphone users beware.
And it's not on.
and
What's
she
going
did
on?
not stick
You
landing.
guys-
Every time you do this. Every time.
I don't
Right
like
there. Right there is
myself.
great.
Okay.
Okay. Here we go.
Here we go.
Good morning.
Oh my gosh.
The ears.
Audio listeners.
It's a little tiny chihuahua wearing a propeller hat.
That is
Wow.
so
With the
adorable.
biggest Dobby ears.
He's
in
like
the
an
world.
old-fashioned schoolboy. Like
So cute.
Oh my
This
Going out to
one
the
is
playground.
Good. Let's do this one.
Okay, this
Looks
one is
like a
very
dancing
impressive.
one.
Here we go.
Yes.
oh.
Do you think we could pull that off?
Yeah, let's do it.
The four of us?
No.
Yeah. There's only 3 people in the video. So.
Hey, I'm gonna say this out loud so that everyone can hear. No.
Thank you for that confidence.
Oh gosh. Oh gosh. He's cutting a balloon?
He froze it.
Oh, he froze
Frozen
it.
balloon. Oh, another balloon inside
no,
the balloon.
No, 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 no.
I don't like this at all.
Oh, no, no. Super loud.
Oh, this is ASMR.
Oh God! If you ever show me that again, I will sue.
So wait,
I'm taking you directly to court.
I'm confused. What
It
was
was
the
just
point of
frozen
that?
What do
balloon
you
inside a
mean?
frozen balloon
Inside
inside a frozen balloon inside of a balloon
regular
inside a
balloon
balloon.
and balloon.
Whatever.
Okay. Lib.
Every time.
Yeah, yeah.
Honestly, for the rest of our lives, we will be doing that too many times.
Can you show that at my funeral, please?
I
When?
hope I'm not at your funeral, but yeah,
Okay.
if I'm
When?
there, sure, I'll make
Dang
sure it
it.
happens.
You guys are all older than me. Whatever.
Yeah, I was gonna say. We talked about old people.
I will be Gigi.
GG. Thanks for watching. Use our promo code WTP at poddex.com. And hey, make someone laugh today.
Nice.
Yeah.
Go on with it.
I love it. We'll see you next week on
What
the
the
Podcast.